Would you believe me if I told you that the first successful climb of Mount Everest was fueled by sardines on biscuits? It's the sacrifices we all make, isn't it? So this week, for my quest to see what food from history tastes like, I'm taking a trip to the first ever expedition to the top of Mount Everest. In 1953, Edmund and Tenzing Norgay became the first people ever to reach the top of Mount Everest in what was the 9th attempt from explorers. So I wanted to find out more about the food that fueled their climb to the top of the world. So for context, before 1953, expeditions to Everest were typically fueled by food that was sourced locally from the Himalayas. Rice, potatoes, lentils, plus bulk stores of foods that they just couldn't source locally. Powdered milk, sugar, jam, butter, that kind of thing. Cut to 1953. In 1953, they basically had two sets of rations. They had composite rations and assault rations. The composite rations were intended for the earlier stages of the climb at lower altitudes. They contained tinned meat, vegetables and fruit, cake, biscuits, butter, jam, marmalade. Then there were the assault rations, which were intended for higher altitudes where the weight and the sugar energy requirements are increasingly key. Assault rations were basic foods only, all vacuum packed. But then at higher altitudes, the assault rations were supplemented with things like sardines, salmon, honey. So I'm going to test out the assault rations that took them to the top of Everest. So the assault rations included oats, powdered milk, jam, biscuits, mint cake or banana bars, cocoa, tea, and lemonade powder, which I'm kind of excited to try. So first up, I really want to try the mint cakes. So the expedition party were kitted out with 16 kilograms of Kendal mint cake, which was also the total carrying limit of one of the expedition porters. So you'd really feel like you'd earned your place in history carrying these. Legend has it that once upon a time in the quaint town of Kendal in England, a confectioner got distracted while making a vat of boiled mint sweets. So he forgot about it, it started bubbling, turned into a dense, thick, cake-like substance that eventually became what some people called the world's first energy bar. Those people hadn't heard of pemmican, which I recreated in my episode about Captain Scott's Christmas dinner. So it's supposed to be piercingly sweet, which made it perfect for altitude because a lot of explorers will say that at high altitudes your sense of taste just goes off a cliff. One of the expedition party apparently wrote that his only complaint about the Kendal mint cake was that there wasn't enough of it. I'm one of those people that doesn't really like mint sweets or mint chocolate. It just confuses me, it makes me think that someone's trying to give me edible toothpaste. Oh! It's honestly like someone's giving you a sweet as you're trying to brush your teeth. Oh! That is... You know, if I had a cold, that would have cleared up my airwaves. The thing is, at this point in 1953, even though World War II is long over, Britain is still in the throes of rationing. This meant that the manufacturers actually had to get written permission from the British Ministry of Food to fulfill the order for the expedition. There were even some accounts of factory workers donating their sugar coupons to actually be able to make up the order. Okay. Oh! I feel like I simultaneously do and don't need to brush my teeth tonight. I've got that fur around my teeth now, but my breath smells all minty. Next up, so as the assault rations are filled with rolled oats and milk powder, I feel that gives me some license to try expedition porridge. Right, 40 grams of oats, then 10 grams of milk powder, water, and then cook. Quite surprised, this looks really creamy. I've never used the milk powder in this before. So the pre-ascent composite rations accounted for about 4,800 calories every day for the expedition party. And it was apparently about 300 calories per day more than the expedition the previous year by the Swiss in 1952. So they tried to take some learnings from that. The rations also accounted for surplus food, which was intended for the Sherpas. As the Sherpas were responsible for cooking on the expedition, it was generally agreed that you needed to provide for them too. And then you have milk powder porridge. Let's give this a try. Porridge with milk powder actually can't taste much of a difference. However, because we know that Hillary favoured sweet foods on the climb and we know it was in the rations, I'm gonna add some honey to my porridge. I mean, this is great camping food. The assault rations that the expedition party had actually had more calories than needed because the plan was for the climbers to be able to just leave the food if they were unable to eat it, but I think this would have gone down a treat. Next up is tea. So 4 decades after his climb, Edmund was talking to some students and said that food on the climb was basically repugnant to him. He said that most of his energy came from sweet drinks, in particular, hot weak tea with lots of sugar. At high altitudes, reduced appetite led to sugar-rich diets. The records show that they spent one night in camp at 28,000 feet, about 1,000 feet shy of the summit. They would brew their tea from melted snow, and they spent that evening brewing tea. Now brace yourself, my fellow Brits. They would apparently add 3 to 4 heaped dessert spoons of sugar per mug of tea. Well, this is pure sacrilege. Hot, sweet, weak tea. Well, it doesn't look that weak, but here we go. Even by the stereotype of builder sweet tea, that's a bit much. Even if you were to find someone in this country that drank 3 or 4 sugars in their tea, I think they'd be talking teaspoons, not dessert spoons. Why not? I'm gonna try some of the milk powder in it. This couldn't possibly go wrong. And now with added milk powder. Powdered milk actually makes that a lot better. Oh, that's so sweet. People talk about tea being a drug. This is a gateway drug. Next up is lemonade powder. So on the descent from Mount Everest, Hillary apparently drank 2 pints of powdered lemonade, which was all to wash down a meal of 2 omelettes and 6 ounces of canned salmon. Powdered lemonade. I mean, it's okay. It tastes a little bit like someone's had a cold and put their lemon sip in the fridge but forgotten about it for a while. Now I've got a whole carton of lemonade powder, so might as well start a prepper bunker. So last up, I wanted to look at the supplements. The supplemented rations included salmon, honey, biscuits, cured sausage, as well as sardines, which they ate the night before their final climb to the summit of Everest. Sardine time. So the night before their final ascent, Tenzing prepared a meal of sardines on biscuits, tinned apricots, dates, jam, honey, and a soup. And to deal with the severe dehydration they were experiencing at altitude, they drank hot water with their lemonade powder. Then on the morning of their climb, they drank more hot water and lemon and polished off another tin of sardines on biscuits. So I guess it's time to try sardines on biscuits. Sardines time. I think I was bracing myself for this to be disgusting, but it's actually really tasty. Much like the mint cake, this was supposed to be a really strong flavour that could cut through the loss of the sense of taste at high altitude. Alright, winner that one. Delicious as it is, I don't live alone, so I should probably go back for the toothpaste cake. Oh, now that is not good. They were eating upwards of 4,800 calories every day, largely backed up by quite sugary foods, and the sardines are actually really tasty. Props to them. So in 1953, the New Zealand beekeeper himself and his Sherpa Tenzing stepped onto the top of the world at about 11:30 AM on May 29th. After reaching the top, they apparently had a handshake, had a hug. Tenzing apparently left an offering of sweets and chocolate to the mountain as a Buddhist offering. They ate some sweets and then apparently headed back down after 15 minutes on top of the world. Doing the Captain Scott episode, I found that really depressing, but this one's actually really cheered me up. I love it. That being said, it's a strange set of events when eating a mint cake is way worse tasting than sardines on biscuit. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna have a second crack at these sardines. If there's something else you'd like to see me recreate from history, then let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching.